What's up, guys? This is my quarterfinals technical preview of G2 versus Gen.G. I'll make the prediction simple. If G2 decides to play their style and they come in playing ganking junglers, I do think that this is going to be a 3-0 for them. But I think G2 is going through a little bit of an identity crisis at the moment. So we might see a TES type series where they try to play the meta, they play the Graves, they play the Nidalee, fumble around with that for a little bit. Then Yankos, just busts out the Jarvan, he busts out the Set, he busts out the Volibear in the jungle, and everything should be Gucci for them. And I'll explain a little bit as to why. Now, let's break down the teams, right? G2, like I said, this is a team going through a little bit of identity crisis at the moment. They're trying to learn the meta, but G2 has always done best when they play as the meta solver. So I do not think that this is a team that will do very well if they continue to play the likes of Nidalee, Lilia, and Graves. So similar to the TES series, when they try to play away from their style, they might not necessarily do as well. But the way that they set up the mid game, the way they set up objectives, I think that that is still something that what has been so good about G2, controlling the zones, playing on 2 lanes so that we bridge for the weak side and play for the strong side. And that is G2's strength and advantage in this matchup, because this is going to be a repeat of what we saw in the previous playoff stages, only that this time I don't think Gen.G is as good. Now let's talk a little bit about Gen.G. Gen.G, they're trying to play the meta, but they have a different take on it, where Gen.G is going for the scaling style that they've always liked to play in the LCK. And while Damwon as well as DRX is known for being like the sinner team in the LCK, and Damwon is playing this new age of League of Legends where they play for picks and they can play on 2 lanes, they can play on 3 lanes as well. Gen.G is a very dogmatic kind of LCK team, and I haven't watched all the match LCK, but just looking at the way that they've drafted and the way that they've played, I simply guess that this is a rogue type scenario, right, where they just draft this very safe scaling composition, and by virtue of that they just tend to win more games, and that allows them to place them higher in the standings. I think the setup is very problematic. This is a 1-3-1 team. G2 is punished with these 1-3-1 teams time after time after time. 27th is calling. They want their League of Legends back. Zone control. I think the series against LGD showed some serious problems with this. They're walking through chokes. They don't really know how to approach neutral objectives. Even with these kite type compositions, they don't know how to give up these neutral objectives. And I think if they start falling behind against G2, things can look very dire for them. They found some success playing towards top side of the map when they had a Nidalee Renekton, and if they do get counterpick for Rascal in the top lane, we might see them put up a fight. But other than that, I do not have too high hopes for Gen.G. So let's break down what this matchup is going to be like. The first big question is, what jungling style is G2 going to play? I do think that if they just come in straight to the gates, they play a skirmishing jungler. I want to see Lee Sin, I want to see Set, I want to see Volibear, I want to see Jarvan from Yankos, right? If they want an AP jungler, Elise is kind of trash. Don't really go for Elise. I'm not too sure what AP options they can go for. In the regard, maybe up for likes of Hacker, maybe, but Set, Lee Sin, Volibear, Jarvan. These are the 4 champions I want to see Yankos on. Sejuani, possibly, but I think Sejuani's a little bit out of the meta at the moment. But no Graves, no Lilia, no Nidalee in this matchup, and I don't think they need it, simply because they can go for assassin play in the mid lane. And Gen.G's team compositions, they like to draft these long range scaling mages. So if you go for these assassins, these champions, they tend to like lock down, and if you can get backline access, it's actually very effective against them. The likes of LeBlanc, the likes of Akali should be very good in the Gen.G in general, because they tend to play these compositions that, especially if they're trying to play this scaling jungle meta as well, these champions will definitely be able to punish. Zoe is also an option that G2 can be looking at in the mid lane. Well, Caps has not really been popping out so far. I do believe that despite BDD having some of the highest stat lines in the LCK itself, because of the way that Gen.G tends to play, this should be a pop-off series from Caps if they do put him on the assassins and back him up with skirmishing junglers from Yankos. Now, for Gen.G, their way to win the series is by bot gap at 2v2. I think Perks has been exposed a little bit in this meta when they were in the playoff series against Rogue for a little bit, but he did hold his ground in some of the other scenarios as well, and I think he's been holding his ground fine throughout the World Championship so far. But Ruler and Life, if Gen.G they stick to their tried and tested playstyle where they love to play the center as your style, it will have to come through from the support pick from Life for Gen.G to really try to find any headway into this game to prevent G2 from completely rolling them over. I'm not really going to look too much into this because, like I said, G2 is a team that adapts to the meta, and my current read of them is not going to be representative as to what they show on stage itself. So I'll be ready to be surprised, but I do think that just looking at the way they set up in the mid game, G2 should be heavy favorites to win this, if not by 3-1, if not by 3-0, then by a 3-1. So that wraps it up as to my quarterfinals tactical preview for G2 versus Gen.G. This content was brought to you by Jensen. If you enjoy this type of content, please do like this video and consider subscribing to my channel. Even on days where there is no Worlds, I will be doing videos giving insights as to what it is like to be working in a professional team and how do teams prepare for best of series, and maybe review some games as well that's been happening. There's been a banger of a series between Top Esports and Fnatic, and I think that that can be the next evolution as to what this meta is going to be like, and I've chosen some questions as well as to, are we going to see the meta going to continue to revolve around farming junglers, or is it possible to find success on the likes of Lee Sin and Jarvan, like Top Esports did against Fnatic? And I think that G2 will find success with this style against Gen.G as well tomorrow. That wraps it up. I hope you have had a nice day and get hyped for Worlds.